Hi, Denise Gwen, reading aloud for you from my novella Goddess, Chapter 42. A gust of wind shivered past. The pedestal swayed just the tiniest bit, and Lady Venus had to tip over slightly to catch her balance, and Maddie screamed herself hoarse. Oopsie daisy, Lady Venus chirped. Lady Venus, you're scaring the life out of me. No worries, my dear Madeline. I have excellent balance. Don't look down. Don't look down. Don't you dare look down. Lady Victory lowered the torch in her left hand to Lady Venus's face and studied her intently. The lantern cast a spooky glow upon Lady Venus's sharply chiseled features. So, here you are at last, Lady Venus. Yes, Lady Victory, Lady Venus said evenly. Here I am. I see you finally decided to grace me with your presence. Oh, knock it off, Lady Victory, Lady Venus snapped. We need to talk. Oh, go ahead and call me Victoria, Lady Victory said. She glanced at Maddie. It makes sense, doesn't it? Lady Victory, Victoria. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It works. All right then, Lady Venus said. I suppose it'll make things easier this evening if you go by Victoria and I go by Lady Venus. Yes, it works, Victoria said. She sheathed her sword into the belt at her waistline, hopped off the globe, and perched on the second tiniest scrap of stone on the edge of the pedestal and hunkered down to her haunches. And as she did so, her knees cracked, and the ball upon which she stood rolled slightly toward the edge. Maddie's heart thudded dully. What in the world was she going to do if that globe rolled off the pedestal and hit Lady Venus, or if these two started fighting? Ah, Victoria sighed. What a relief it is to finally get to bend my legs. Lady Venus continued to hold her balance on one toe, glanced up at Maddie, and winked. I've half a mind to get myself comfier. What do you say, Maddie? Wait, what are you doing? Maddie asked. Lady Venus bent down to her haunches and, with a huge leap, flew up into the air, and Maddie screamed as she clutched Lady Venus's neck, and Lady Venus chuckled and landed expertly on her bottom on the scrap of stone that she'd been standing on only a second earlier with her big toe. And she perched on the scrap of stone pedestal and swung her legs over the chasm as Victoria remained on her haunches and the globe rolled merrily along on its own axis. Ah, Lady Venus said with satisfaction. That's better. Maddie closed her eyes. If she didn't look down, she could hold it together and not scream. As she clutched vainly at her sanity and Lady Venus's neck, her thoughts drifted to a topic she'd learned in her third grade social studies class on Indiana history. Tell us, Maddie, Lady Venus said pleasantly, of the subject you studied in your third grade social studies class on Indiana history. Oh, Maddie started, recalling yet again that Lady Venus could read her thoughts. She was dreadfully nervous and needed something to occupy her thoughts, so she began. When the founding fathers of Indianapolis were laying out the city, They used the street pattern of Washington, D.C. as a template. They identified Monument Circle as the literal center of the city, and the surrounding streets cartwheel away from the monument, very much like the spokes of a wheel. And when you're high up in the viewing tower of Monument Circle, the city layout makes perfect sense and is lovely to behold. Of course, as the city grew and expanded, the hub and spoke idea fell by the wayside. But in the heart of Indianapolis, the spoke and hub effect is still very much present and on view. Yes, Victoria said with some asperity. It's nice to meet a mere human who actually knows something useful. Thank you, Maddie said inadequately. Okay, so I better steer clear of this chick. She's kind of bitchy. How dare you speak ill of me, human? Victoria said. Oh, no, Maddie said. You can read my thoughts, too. Of course I can, silly human. Victoria gazed archly at her. Now, what else do you remember from your Indiana history? Not much, I'm afraid. Well then, Victoria said, let me enlighten you. Oh, Victoria, Lady Venus said, we don't have time for this. Nonsense, Victoria said. The silly human must know. Madeline, dear, stupid little human, did you know that I was chiseled out of gray oolitic stone? No, Maddie said. I can't say that I did know that, but well done, Victoria. My monument was built in 1889, and when the forefathers assembled for the first lighting of the monument, I was the most beautiful and amazing sight to see. Lady Venus glanced up at Maddie and rolled her eyes. Maddie bit back a smile. I was designed by Bruno Schmitz of Germany, Victoria said. And you, inferior human, who designed you? Harold and Helen, Lady Venus said. Now, Victoria, are you quite through showing off? Humph, Victoria said. How on earth are we going to get this imperious statue to chill out a bit? I will warrant you, Lady Venus said in a gentler tone. It's a lovely view from up here. She's trying to placate Victoria. I have my own thoughts, Madeline. Maddie started with surprise and looked at Lady Venus, who smiled back at her. Lady Venus had spoken to her from inside her head. In softer tones, Victoria said, Oh, the city's much better these days. They've improved it tremendously, thank Goddess. For a good many years there, back in the 80s, downtown turned into a ghost town. She cast a cool, appraising eye at Lady Venus. But you want to know something, Lady Venus? It gets mighty lonely up here, being set up on a pedestal and all, and admired all the time for my beauty and transcendence. It's a difficult burden, I tell you. She's heaping it on. She's a diva, what can I say? Wait, Lady Venus, can Victoria hear what you're thinking? No, she can't. Oh, thank Goddess. Lady Venus nodded. I do understand how hard it must be for you. I have to say, I rather like where my monument is located, for I'm the center of the campus, and for every special event in a human's life, they come to my fountain for photos, and I'm the backdrop. I'm the heart of the campus. When the students leave during semester breaks, the place does get mighty quiet, but then I always have the fish to talk to. Mm-hmm, Victoria said, gazing with a gimlet eye at Maddie. So, Lady Venus, tell me more of this human protege. Lady Venus reached her arms up and lifted Maddie off her back and perched her on her lap. A young lady who's discovered the beauty of stargazing. Young? Maddie scoffed. I'm hardly young. I'm 57 years old. You're young to us, Victoria said. I'm 131 years old. Plus, Lady Venus added, you need to remember something else about us, my dear Madeline. The stone that Victoria was cut out of was formed hundreds upon thousands of years before that, from the rich soil of Indiana. How and when were you formed, Lady Venus? Maddie asked. I'm sculpted from Italian marble in Italy, Lady Venus said proudly. Herman B. Wells, the finest president of IU, traveled to Italy to commission my creation. The sculptor began work on me in 1958, and Grace Showalter dedicated me to the people of Indiana on October the 22nd of 1961. Oh, Maddie said with a start. So that means you're only 2 years older than me, aren't you, Lady Venus? Yes, Lady Venus said with a serene smile, glancing sidelong at Victoria. I am. And what's more, I represent the birth of Venus. Victoria snorted with derision. Like that means something. Understanding flooded Maddie's heart. Lady Venus, that explains your awakening. Her awakening? Victoria asked. Yes, Lady Venus has come to life because of the transit of Venus across the sun. The last time Venus did a transit across the face of the sun was back in 1882. Victoria glanced at Lady Venus with a sarcastic smile. Did you tell her that? Lady Venus smiled serenely. I let her make her own connections. Well, I'll be darned, Maddie said. I didn't make the connection until just this moment. That's fine, dear, Lady Venus said. And now we need to return to our main topic of conversation.